Hello viewers, welcome to our channel once again. Today we'll talk about soil management, and the topic of soil management is very wide, so I'll focus on few selected topics such as soil acidity. Why soil acidity? Because high level of soil acidity has become one of the major causes of reduction in crop yields. Let me start by saying that soil is one of the most ignored factors in crop production, yet one of the most important factors. Indeed, when we talk about soil management, what quickly comes to mind is the use of fertilizers. And fertilizers are good. They provide nutrients to the plants. But there are other aspects of soil management that can make utilization of fertilizers by the plants more effective. Every year, farmers add fertilizers to the soil without really knowing the nutrients that are lacking in their soils. This continued use of fertilizers has resulted in high levels of acidity in the soil. There are several factors that contribute to high levels of soil acidity, but key among them is the continued use of fertilizers, particularly some types of fertilizers. High acidity inhibits or limits the absorption of nutrients by the crops. Even if you add fertilizer to the soil, the plants cannot absorb the nutrients in an environment of high acidity. And so you add fertilizer, but you don't get the desired improved crop yields. We cannot stop using fertilizers. What we need is a remedy for the high acidity levels. And the remedy is a simple and cheap technology called agricultural lime. I say cheap because a 50-kilogram bag of lime costs about 400 shillings, between 400 and 600 shillings. Unlike fertilizers that are imported, lime is mined right here in the country, in Kenya. There are two types of agricultural lime. There is the calcium-based lime, which is actually referred to as the agricultural lime, and there is magnesium-based lime, such as magmax. And indeed, fertilizer companies are now fortifying, some of the fertilizer companies are now fortifying the fertilizers with calcium and magnesium to remedy the high acidity levels in the soil. Scientists say that 63% of our key food basket areas, the soils have become acidic. So the areas have reduced yields, and we really need to remedy these acidity levels. The challenge here is that uh, the adoption of liming by farmers is very limited. There are very few farmers who are using the lime to remedy the acidity levels. And even where farmers are liming their soils, it's usually on cash crops like coffee. Liming is hardly being done for our food crops like maize. And so what we need is a strategy to create more awareness about liming so that we can improve our crop yields. The other aspect I wanted to touch on is soil testing. Soil testing gives us information on soil fertility, which is the nutrient levels in the soil. We get information on the pH levels. pH is the measure of acidity in the soil. We also get information on the organic matter in the soil and other aspects such as microbial activity in the soil. However, just like liming, there are very few farmers who are testing their soils. There could be challenges concerning soil testing. One of the challenges could be that some farmers do not know where they can test their soils. And so in this video, I'll mention a few places where farmers can test their soil. Soil is tested by government institutions as well as the private sector. A few examples of the institutions where you can test your soil include the National Agricultural Laboratories on Waiyaki Way in Nairobi. The National Agricultural Laboratories are an institution of the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization, CARO. Another place is the Coffee Research Institute in Roiro, formerly the Coffee Research Foundation. Another place that you can test your soils is KEFIS, the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service. There are also private sector companies like CropNuts and others who test soils and provide also some other important services. And also some of our universities also do test soil. The other challenge that farmers may have is the soil sampling, because these laboratories require that you take a sample, either deliver it to the institution or you send it by courier or other means. Soil sampling is a skill, and some farmers may have challenges in even taking the soil sample. The testing institution should usually give instructions on how the farmers should take the sample, but to some farmers, it's still a challenge. For instance, if you are planting avocado, it could be that you have to take the sample from a depth of about 50 centimeters because that's where the roots will be. If you are planting beans, it could be that you need to take a soil sample from a depth of about 25 centimeters. It could be also that you need to take the samples from different corners of the farm because soils they vary within a very short distance. You take samples from different corners of the farm and then mix and send to the testing institution. Once the soil is analyzed, the farmer gets a report. And for some farmers, it's also a challenge to interpret the report. My opinion is that in the spirit of skills development for the youth, we need to train some youth on these skills so that they become the soil champions in each county. When farmers need to test their soils, they can reach out to these soil champions who can help them to do the soil sampling, help them in sending the sample to the laboratories, and also help in interpreting the report once it comes back. These soil champions could also help in implementing the recommendations in the report. For instance, the recommendation could be that the farmer needs to lime the soil, and these uh, soil champions can help the farmer even in procuring the agricultural lime. The other aspect I wanted to touch on is organic matter and soil structure. Organic matter is very important in our soils. The organic matter not only adds nutrients to the soil, but it also improves the water holding capacity of the soil so that when it rains, the moisture can stay a little longer in the soil and benefit the crop. The organic matter also improves the soil structure. And for the soil structure, let me give an example of compacted soils. When soils are very compacted, it means the roots cannot grow properly. It also means that the roots cannot get proper aeration. The air cannot move very well in the root zone because the soil is compacted. Also, when it rains, the water does not infiltrate, or the water does not get into the soil. It goes away as surface runoff because the soil is compacted. And so organic matter is very important, not only for nutrients, but for water holding capacity and also in improving the soil structure. A challenge here could be the availability of organic matter, because once again, when we think about organic matter, usually we are referring to farmyard manure. And we may not have adequate amounts of farmyard manure for our farms. However, there are other types of manures or organic matter that you can use, such as green manures. And a lot of research has been done by our scientists on green manure to come up with the best crops that can be used as green manure. The green manure crops are usually legumes. And in my next video, I'll be talking about the use of green manure for soil improvement. So I'll stop there today, but again, I request that you subscribe to our video and also share the video. Thank you.